Hey, what's up, you guys? So, um, I just had the most brilliant, best day ever that I've had in a really long time. I guess I didn't realize that my vibration could be so much higher than I ever thought it could be. And I just wanted to tell you just the best tip ever, basically, for manifesting, which is why my day was so great. And that is just meditating and then doing whatever impulse you get. Like I said in the video before last, I was saying that we should all try to play this game where we all meditate and then we follow whatever impulse we get. We just act on whatever impulse we get. And that's what I've been doing every day for the last week almost. I think it's been about a week that I've been doing this. And I'm starting to think maybe Abraham, because I said in that video, in my video before last, I was like, I don't know if Abraham Hicks is right when she said something along the lines of, oh, if you meditate every day, your days get better and better. I'm still not totally sure she's right, but I'm starting to think, okay, maybe she is right. I don't know. Because, I guess as long as you don't think a whole bunch of negative thoughts to undo all of the positive momentum you get from meditating and then following your impulses, I think you should be able to, maybe actually have. I feel like, you really should be able to have your days get better and better. My days have gotten better and better pretty much every day this week. Surprisingly, it really surprised me. So let me just tell you what I've been doing for the past week. Like I said in my other video, what has allowed me to achieve this happiness for this past week has just been me just meditating. So the way that I meditate is, and this is how I recommend that you meditate to have this amazing week that I've been having as well. Just meditate like how I do. And how I meditate is I just sit down sometimes I stand and meditate. Is that weird? And then usually I lay down and meditate, or I'll sit and meditate. I really meditate anywhere all day. So I just meditate by focusing on music. Usually I listen to some kind of Reiki music on YouTube, or I listen to classical music, or I'll just listen to any sound that I can find around me. So just meditate to any sound you can find that doesn't have any words to it, because the goal of meditating is to quiet your mind and to not think any thoughts. So while you're meditating and focusing on the sound, if you start to think any thoughts, just keep putting your focus back onto only the sound and try not to think any thoughts. If you do think anything, it's okay. That's natural. You're going to be thinking thoughts. They're going to be popping into your head. But every time a thought does pop into your head, just keep putting your focus back onto only the sound and try not to think about anything except the sound. So every time you think a thought, just keep putting your focus back onto the sound. And then, after you do that for 15 minutes or so, maybe less, it could be a lot less time than that, you'll get an impulse to do something, usually. It might not happen for you. You might not get an impulse to do something, though, right away if you don't meditate often. Like if you're just starting out regularly meditating, it might take you a few days or maybe even a few weeks before you start getting an idea or an impulse to do something. But usually once the person has been meditating regularly for a while, if you're really quieting your mind and really focusing on not thinking any thoughts, you should be getting an impulse to do something eventually. And then basically the impulse that you get is going to be like an idea to do something. And usually it should be a very strong impulse to do something. It might not be that strong of an impulse though if you're like, if you don't meditate regularly. It might just be an idea like, oh, I'd really like to go to Taco Bell. Sometimes it's a very simple idea that you don't think is not like always going to be like a profound, life-changing idea you're going to get from meditating, but it should lead to something really great. It should lead to something that you'll enjoy having experienced in your day, basically. And sometimes it does lead to profound life changing things for people. I haven't really experienced a whole bunch of that except one time, which I'll make a video about eventually. But yeah, usually I just get very exciting experiences, but it's not really exactly life changing experiences. It's just like I have a very exhilarating day, or a much more exhilarating than usual day, anyway. So basically, yeah, that's all you do. Just meditate. I've gotten to a point now where I can meditate, and in like only a minute, sometimes I will get an impulse to do something, and then I'll just act on that impulse. So it might not even, you might not even have to meditate for 15 minutes, and then you could get an amazing impulse. So basically, after you meditate, then you'll get an impulse to follow some action or to do some action, or you'll get an idea about something. But it's gonna be an idea that you can act on right now, usually. So it should be something that you can act on right now. Although there have been times where I've meditated, gotten an idea to do something, and I had to go to work in like an hour, so I didn't really feel like I had time to do it. So that might happen, and that's okay, because you can just, if that does happen, then you can just do that action. You can just meditate again the next day when you have more time, and then act on whatever impulse you get. So I guess the best way to do this would be to, like, if you really want to see what impulses you get throughout a whole day, like how I've been doing, you kind of need to wait until you have a day off from work, and then really you can just follow a successive amount of impulses just all day. But basically, you're going to get an impulse after you meditate, and then just act on the impulse. Just do whatever it tells you to do. As long as you're feeling good, and as long as you feel like your mind was clear, and you weren't thinking thoughts, and as long as you feel like you're feeling really happy when you got that impulse, acting on the impulse should lead to really great results. It should lead to a fun experience, maybe even a life-changing experience that will change your life for the better, of course. So, yeah, just follow the impulse. Just take the action. If the idea of taking the action, if the impulse to take that you get, if the impulse that you get feels fearful, or if it feels like something you're scared to act on, or if you feel like you're hesitating to act on it, then I think that is a sign that you probably shouldn't follow that impulse. Then I think that is a sign that you probably didn't really have your mind as clear and free of thoughts as you thought it was when you were meditating. So you were maybe getting an impulse to do something from a lower vibration, which can happen. Because we're all getting impulses all the time, either from high vibrations or low vibrations. But if your mind was really clear, and if you were feeling really happy during meditation when you got the impulse, then that's how you can tell that it wasn't just like one of your negative impulses that if you followed, would lead to maybe a negative result. So instead, you can tell if you got the impulse during meditation and you felt like your mind was free of thoughts, and if you felt like you were happy when you got the impulse, then that's how you can tell that acting on that impulse will actually lead to the positive results that you're seeking instead of a negative result. So basically, when you get an impulse from a high vibration like that during meditation, then it's going to lead to really positive, happy results for you because you got the impulse when you were feeling really happy. And we all know, those of us who study law of attraction, we all know that when you feel happy before you do something, before you take any action, it should usually lead to really great results if you were really truly feeling happy. So, yeah. Basically, you just act on the impulse and then see what happens. And it should be a really fun time. So, let me just tell you how my day went today. Basically, I got up. I didn't have a, I didn't have time to meditate as soon as I woke up, like I usually do, because I had to go see my niece's play. My niece, she's a little 6-year-old. She did a Dr. Seuss play at her elementary school with all the other first graders. It was so cute. I loved her play. She was so cute in it. And then after the play, I finally had time to meditate. So I just meditated in my car, which I do a lot. And then I meditated to, I believe it was to classical music. I listened to a lot of NPR, and they play classical music when they're not doing the news. Unlike National Public Radio, I think I just saw a red butterfly. Or maybe it was an orange butterfly. That's like actually that's something I've been trying to manifest for forever, seeing a red butterfly. I actually saw one only once in my